because we're in a huge big wind. It's the sort of coming into the middle of November, and it's got freezing just by the way, and the weather this afternoon is going to be winds of 120 miles an hour.
I'm going home now.
Susan hates the wind. I don't know why.
Well, I don't mind it just out for a walk. When I'm trying to do anything, it drives me mad.
Okay, now today we're filming onions, how to plant onions. Now I thought onions were little seedling things. I was wrong. So what are we doing?
Right, you can grow onions from seed, but we're growing them from what's called sets. Onion sets.
Onion sets.
Yeah. So they're little tiny onions.
Yeah. Should we show them to Rosie? Okay.
Right.
Right.
Now you tell me which end goes down.
Well, I presume that end goes
Yeah,
down and the
pointed
pointed end goes up.
That's right.
We're
Yeah.
learning. Okay.
Right. Now, because you don't want to actually, they don't go in very deeply. They barely get, barely get covered. The tip is almost at the surface of the soil.
So you leave the tip at the surface.
Yeah. But
Okay.
you don't want to push them into the soil in case your soil is heavy, in case you damage what's known as the root plate, which is this end where the roots come out.
Okay.
So what
Rosie,
about
can
the-
you hear us okay with the wind? Great.
Okay.
Rosie's doing thumbs up there. Terrific.
Right.
Okay.
You make a very small trench,
Trench.
as in
Okay.
almost scraping the ground,
Okay.
like that,
Yeah.
and then we put our onions in. Whoops. One.
So you're not putting your onions in deep at all here, Susan?
No. I'm going to do them about 5-6 inches apart.
So 5 to 6 inches apart. Sorry, I sound as if I'm doing
Yeah.
some sort of we speak English, but with the weather you just wouldn't know. Ooh, telling you it is cold out here.
It's what they call the wind chill factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we should get. I always thought, do we get one onion from this, or do we get a load of
Yeah,
onions?
but you get big onions, not these little. They grow
Yeah,
into
but-
nice big onions.
Yeah, but they take so long to grow.
Well,
And look, when will we get these?
next June,
Gee,
you've got to have patience. Once you get the cycle going, you see, and you can store your onions. Don't forget.
oh, you can. Can you store onions?
Yes.
And for how long, like?
Well, you dry them off and then you tie them up somewhere and you store them. I mean, the onions you buy in the shop, they haven't got to come straight out of the ground.
And how long could you store them when you pull them up?
Very much depends on what sort of conditions whether they've dried out nicely and what conditions you've got to store them in. But they will last a very long time.
Like what? 3 months?
Oh, I would
6
think so,
months?
yes. Well, how quickly? Depends. You'll probably have eaten them before you,
Probably
before you need to
will.
worry about
A nice French onion soup. Now, actually, even when I think of it, I'm getting starving. I tell you what, go to our recipe section because we'll have a delicious French onion soup listed for you and how to do it with your own home onions. Wouldn't that be brilliant?
I thought that's what you're going to have waiting for me when I've done this.
Sorry. No. Okay, so
Right.
that's our onions in,
That's
and you've
our
only
onions
covered them in
I've only
slightly.
very gently, lightly covered them
Okay,
in.
so do you want to mark them, Susan?
Yes,
or-
I'm going to take one of these canes here and mark the edge of the row. I'm going to put it over there.
Right. So that's our onion row.
That's our onion row there.
Great, and they'll be ready then to eat next June.
Yeah.
So we're December, January, February, March, April, May, June. They take about 7 months, 6 to 7
Well,
months.
they're not going to take that when you do next lot of onions in the spring. They're not going to take as long. But I mean, these is over the winter,
Oh,
so
I
they're going to take a bit
see.
longer.
Oh, and if I put some in spring, then what's the story?
Generally, gosh, I'm trying to
3 or 4
think.
months, like.
Yeah, you're looking at something like that. Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll definitely plant them next spring,
Oh,
which
yeah.
means then, Susan, we would have onions going all the time.
Yeah.
Once you get into the
Once you
cycle.
get into the cycle and you can store, you should manage to keep yourself going in onions.
And can you tell me something? Can you plant onions in the same line next year, or do you have to put them in a different place?
It's always better to move everything and to do your crop rotation.
Okay, so that means you need to be organised and you need to keep a list of where you put your stuff.
That's what you're meant to do.
So
and
you have
do
to
I-
write it down.
And do I remember to do it every year? I say, oh no, I'll remember.
But you never pop.
well,
You sort of
touchy
think,
sort
oh,
of
here,
thing,
I'll move
yeah.
it down here.
Yeah.
But actually, I need to put a little list now to say, right, and how on something like this, how would you know? You just map it out.
Yes, you could draw out your beds and you could mark in on them.
Yeah.
Where you put them.
Okay, I think that's important because you want to get the onion. You don't want to put in the onions and then little squirty things come
No,
up.
and it does help as well when you're buying your seeds next year. You know where you're going to put everything, so you don't go in and say, "Oh, I have some of those and some of those," and then you know where.
Yes,
they'll
you're
go.
organised.
You're organised.
It's called organisation in this garden, like the office.